Hey everyone, welcome to the Dram Amateur Podcast, your go-to show for everything bourbon, whiskey, rum, tequila, mezcal, and beyond. I'm your host, Jason. Join me as I journey and explore the world of alcoholic spirits. Let's get started. All right, welcome back to the Dram Amateur Podcast, the show where we explore the stories, spirits, and sips that make the world of whiskey, bourbon, rum, tequila, mezcal, and beyond so exciting. I'm your host, Jason, and I'm thrilled to have you here for another pour of a great conversation. Before we dive in, don't forget to connect with me on Instagram at Dram_amateur, as well as YouTube and Facebook under the Dram Amateur Podcast to stay in the loop with exclusive content and updates. Whether you're a seasoned enthusiast or just starting your journey into the world of fine spirits, this is your spot to sip, learn, and share. So pour yourself something good, get comfortable, and let's kick off another unforgettable episode of the Dram Amateur Podcast. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I am joined by someone who's helped shape some of the most exciting brands in the spirits world. My guest today is Sammy Halpern. From his time scaling Blue Run Spirits into one of the most buzzed about whiskey brands in the country, to his current role as Chief Strategy Officer and co-founder of DeSolas Mezcal, Sammy's career has been defined by vision, creativity, and the courage to do things differently. He's a connector, a storyteller, and a strategist who's helping bring fresh energy to the world of agave, honoring tradition while carving out a new lane for modern mezcal drinkers. It's an honor to have him here with me today in the One More Pour studio. Sammy, welcome to the Dram Amateur Podcast. How you doing today?
I mean, I can't introduce myself any better. So that was unreal. I appreciate you having me and super excited to be here.
Oh man, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming. Yeah, this has been a working in like the last couple months. I appreciate your flexibility. We've both had to be flexible with schedules, probably more so on my side than yours, to be honest with you. But I'm really glad we finally get to carve out some time and sit down and talk. So I'm gonna jump right in because I'm a question guy. I like to get the conversation flowing. And so I'd like to learn a little bit about you. So want to lean into like your roots and early influences. So let's talk about before your mezcal journey that you're on now. So before that you had and before Blue Run even, right? What was your first aha moment with spirits? Like, so not your first drink, but the first time you felt like it was more than just alcohol to you and you knew like this was the space for you where you wanted to be in.
It was an interesting time in my life. And I think I would probably relate to just people kind of questioning their paths, right? I was a college baseball player. I grew up in Miami and I was really passionate about baseball. I really thought that I was going to be, the next, kid from Miami to make it in the big leagues, and was really quickly introduced to how talented, the college pool of athletes are. Played, my sophomore year, junior year, and then am I going to go into the draft? Am I going to get drafted? Or should I start to maybe try to work? And there was an internship that popped up at Southern Wine Spirits in Miami, Florida. I'm a Miami kid, born and raised down here. And it intrigued me. I was studying business in college and business and finance, which I'm not an expert at, but business, yes. And so I was juggling between a finance internship and this internship at Southern Wine Spirits. I went in for this meeting for some industry geeks. This gentleman, Gene Sullivan from Southern Wine Spirits, was creating a division at Southern for coastal wine and spirits, which was dedicated for Moët Hennessy and Diageo. And they hadn't had an internship program and they were interested in developing one. And he asked me like what I'd want to do. And we kind of just figured it out together. And I thought that was really like personal. And I think that's a really storied like relationship for the industry. And, this guy who was going to be this huge, CEO of this division was asking me what I wanted to do as an intern. And it resonated with me and it made me feel at home as like a family. And I jumped at it and didn't end up going professional baseball wise and ended up getting hired because of that internship.
That's cool. What position did you play in baseball?
I was a right fielder. I mean, I was a short. I mean, every good athlete's a shortstop in high school, and then I got stuck in right field in college, and now I'm talking to guys on podcasts about booze, which I'm super excited. I'd rather be here.
That's awesome. Do you have a favorite? Were you a did the Marlins exist back then, or were they not existing yet?
I'm not that old.
Okay, I was gonna say
they won a World Series in '97, and I think it was 02 or 03. They were just comparing this kid for Toronto, the 22-year-old, to Josh Beckett in the 03 World Series, which I remember really well against the Yankees, which was, I mean, some unbelievable baseball over the weekend. I don't know if you saw it at all.
Yeah.
I don't really watch baseball anymore, but even I was really connected to that.
Yeah, it was a fantastic series for sure. So let's go to your carving out this little area for you. It sounded like this job didn't even exist. It was an internship program and you jumped right in and kind of created a space for yourself. Do you think they were looking? I didn't know, first of all, that even existed, like intern programs in those kind of areas. So that's really intriguing to me. But do you think like your connection with that individual as a CEO, like, do you think that opened that door for you a little wider? Or do you think they always had that kind of idea stepping into that space that they were looking for somebody like that and wanted to take that path in that direction?
You know, I wouldn't know this if I hadn't asked. And I asked the guy that hired me, you know, as we became friends and as I became kind of doing other things for the company. And he was like, you know, you had a weird knack and a weird ability to build relationships with people. And maybe it was from like the team sports and whatnot. But it was just a cool thing to do. I enjoyed doing it. Like I would wake up at 5:45 in the morning and go and sell wine to Publixes and kind of just had fun doing it. I was like a 23-year-old kid and turned into a much bigger job from there. And I don't know, I had fun doing it.
That's awesome. Now, I think it's one of those things when you have a natural passion for something or you have just a natural knack for something, right? It comes out to certain people and they just are drawn to it. It sounds like that kind of happened with you, right? You had that skill set and you loved doing what you were doing and they probably wanted to do that. And they said, hey, grab this kid, let's get him in here and help to sell and drive that kind of stuff for them. So that's awesome. So you've worn a few different hats across some big brands and scrappy startups. When you're thinking about your upbringing and background, what parts of your personality made this kind of work as like a natural fit? You talked a little bit about like your team sports and connecting with people, but what else about you do you think that this is a great fit for you?
I mean, I just relate to like passion and relationships, right? Like, one thing I always tell people when we're looking towards working with them, or even just like conversations with a bar or restaurant or liquor store owner, it's if this works for both of us, let's do it. And like, I don't want to sell you our mezcal if you don't have a mezcal consumer, or if you don't have agave curious consumers, then like, that's fine, right? Like there's a space for all of us in this industry. And we're going to get into probably what we just developed, which is just kind of inviting more people to be excited and want to taste mezcal versus just being like scared of it effectively.
Yeah. I mean, we need more of the non-scary, introduction to mezcal. Everybody's frightened by it. And I think it's one of the more, like I've always said, it's one of the more polarizing alcohols or liquors that are out there. So like when I cracked the DeSolas, I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is different. I gotta have a little bit of fun with this one. So my wife and I had a little bit of deep dive into it yesterday. So we'll get into that here in a second. So let's talk about your career. So your resume reads like a masterclass in premium spirits. You first broke into the industry, as you mentioned, but like, what was the next step, right? You broke in, was it just relationship building and growing from there? I tend to think it's a little bit more than that, but like, what was their next step after you started in all that?
I tried to mentor a little bit of the next generation of people. When it comes to this specifically, it's when you're in it, when you're doing what you're doing, and it's not trying to think forward too much, but it's just understanding what you actually really want to do. And I had this passion when I was working for sales at Coastal. We sold two premium portfolios, right? They were Moët Hennessy and Diageo. I really, really liked both portfolios and I enjoyed doing it, but I really like the idea of selling like almost one thing, right? It's maybe I can relate this back to baseball. A coach used to tell us, keep it simple, stupid. It's a KISS strategy. And I just kind of, I thought it was a little bit difficult, especially as someone young in the industry, to like, I'm going to sell you Dom Perignon, and also like, I'm going to sell you Smirnoff. And it didn't really make sense, even though it really does make sense. And I really liked the idea of that. And funny enough, I went really, really deep in this interview with Red Bull. And I was going to go work for Red Bull, and I was actually really, really excited about this because, they can sell without contract. They can sell with contracts and do all this stuff. And I actually didn't get the job. And I was super down, and I was super beat up about it. And I was speaking to my father, who's been an unbelievable mentor for me. And he tells me, take anyone's phone call because you never know what's going to happen. And I took a phone call from like a friend from the industry type of thing about a potential role at Moët Hennessy, and ended up in Moët Hennessy. And it was a development role, and it was low on the totem pole, but I was super stoked about it. And just being able to understand I understood the distributor, understand how all the sales and the development on brands and pricing worked a little bit at the distributor. Then I got to go work for, maybe the best supplier in the world at Moët Hennessy, with their portfolio of spirits and wines and champagnes. Developed a huge love for cognac, and just absolutely love cognac. And I mean, everything else in their portfolio, right? And without that experience, I wouldn't have had my Blue Run opportunity. You have five awesome guys that were starting a whiskey brand that didn't have industry knowledge and didn't really understand what to do in the industry, like as far as distribution and brand development and brand equity stories. And that's really what opened my door for the ability to be a part of that Blue Run team.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you mentioned coming from the world of Moët Hennessy and the high-end whiskey to agave startup. What inner shift happened that make you make that leap feel right? Moving from, those spirits to now mezcal. What said, hey, this is interesting. Let's jump in and go for it.
It's more so just kind of testing, right? When we were building and developing Blue Run, what really made it exciting was its nuances. It was new. It was built by heritage, and you had this amazing mind in Jim Rutledge, paired with Shaylin Gammon, who's another beautiful mind in the industry, paired with design and elements and like youth and like aspiration. And then you're building all of that together to build a whiskey brand. It just made so much sense. And I wouldn't be able to have a conversation with you or, anyone without the experience that we had. We went from a nothing brand effectively to one of the powerhouses in the whiskey world. And that ramp and that understanding of development was something that I can't replicate, and I wouldn't be able to unless it happened to me, like physically, mentally, emotionally. And I can't replace it. And I'm beyond happy that it happened. And it allows me to now build and develop this mezcal brand with the same characteristics and the same ideals, just, skewed a little bit because we're talking to agave consumers.
Yeah, no, understood. So before we jump into that, one more question, because you sparked something. So like Blue Run's huge, right? Everybody I know has a bottle of Blue Run on their shelves. Every whiskey guy, bourbon guy, Everybody has one. I've had several. I know friends that have some too. There's a big shift happening in the industry. And it's at least been happening for the last year, right? And you mentioned it with you'd be surprised how champagne people are Smirnoff vodka people too, right? In your experience in the industry with those people that like the multiple different types of spirits from different areas, are you seeing that shift more and more and more, or why do you feel like that's happening now more so than ever? I think because everything when I first jumped in was bourbon, and now it's very heavily shifting to agave spirits big time. And I'll even argue the point too, cognac and Armagnac have had a big change and shift as well there. So what do you think's happening in the industry now that you're seeing a lot of that?
Well, the first thing is media, and not just media like this. And it's YouTube, it's Instagram, it's TikTok, and it ends up in the end consumer and how educated they are. When you talk about the 70s and 80s, the most that they would know is when they went to go talk to their local bartender about what's behind the bar. Now you can sit on your computer and get a review from world-renowned whiskey consumers and world-renowned wine connoisseurs about wines, about whiskeys, and it makes us as consumers more curious. And because of that, because of the educational aspect, because of all of these things that are happening in our crazy world today, you have people that are more curious, that are willing to go outside of the box of, just throwing a bottle of, like an old school vodka, like Absolute, right? Yeah. From like the older generation, like throwing a bottle of Absolute in your fridge and like making a martini at home. Now people are, being more explorative. How about split-based cocktails? There's bartenders now testing their consumers and mixing rum with mezcal, or rum with tequila, or even tequila and mezcal, just to try to educate people more. And like, there's always been what's the saying where if you start to mix things, you're gonna like throw up everywhere. Like you learn this like in college, and that's not really it. It's just you just drank too much. That's really what happened. And I think, again, it just comes down to education and people willing to learn more and be educated and be open to it.
No, it's awesome. Yeah, I think that's the case for a lot of us, right? Is we see that a little bit of FOMO maybe mixed in there as well, that you might be missing out on something, but that's okay, because I think like you said, your access to the information nowadays is a lot more prevalent than it ever has been before. Whether it's through, social media, whether it's through content like this, podcasting, whatever it might be. So it's that opens the door for curiosity, right? Dive out there and the sharing in the community. I think the community aspect is a key part of it for me too, because I will get introduced to brands and samples from people that I've never would have even thought of before. And I think that's a really cool opportunity, because then it's my opportunity to introduce you and DeSolas. It's also my opportunity then to share this with people and say, hey, listen, go check this out, go try this. And then kind of just build that community across the globe,
Well, I'm going to expose myself here, but I've listened to bits and pieces of your podcast, but I did want to listen to pretty much a full episode prior to, having a conversation with you. And I listened to your last episode with the Lost Lore gentleman, and like his level of education, and even speaking down to how they're cutting the agaves differently, how they're roasting for different time periods, was awesome. And like, that's like me, even like just going outside the box and understanding different layers of what people are doing in our industry. It's a beautiful thing. Like, Patron 30 years ago is not roasting their agaves for different time periods, right? Like they might do it today because they're trying to do like certain things. But I mean, listen to a gentleman like that, like getting down to the layer of detail, and, probably also, and he also answers all the Instagram messages, like, so that's the beauty of the industry, right?
Yeah, it is really cool. I was shocked by that. I'm like, wait, there's different cuts. I'm like, I had no idea. I'm like, tell me more about this.
I might steal it. I'll give him credit, but I'm gonna call our master distiller tomorrow morning.
Have him try it out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do this. So because we're going to jump into some other topics here, especially about the mezcal. So let me share some of the pictures of the bottle. So you guys were amazing enough to send me a bottle of the DeSolas Mezcal Blanco. So it's a 80 proof mezcal. The artwork on it's beautiful. I want to talk to you a little bit about that too. I love the coloring of the bottle, the size of the bottle, like everything's like honestly perfect about it. And then I just got back from a business trip. I've been traveling a ton lately for work, and I had a box, and I was like, what's in the box? I had no idea what was coming. My wife's like, what'd you order? And I'm like, I have no idea. And open it up with a nice note, and thank you for that. And then I got a nice sample bottle of the Mezcal Reposado, which is 96 proof. 6 months age. So in this one for me, like hit all the marks. Both of them were amazing. I was blown away how different it was. Then I didn't know what to expect when I dove in. First nose, I was like, whoa, this is huge, way different. And then I had this one after, and I'm like, okay, hold on a minute. I'm going to try not to drink this entire bottle in one sitting. So tell me a little bit about, how you got started into this. Tell me a little bit about the brand. Tell me a little bit about the artwork, just go for it. I want to hear all about it because it's really cool and it's really interesting.
All right. I mean, I love it. I started like moving back and forth in my seat because I want to keep talking. But so a woman by the name of Gigi Mirvis actually started this company. She has been working with the family that we work with for, I guess, 16 plus years now. She's done agave spirits with them and developed them as her business, even out of college. So she's someone that's been in the industry for a really, really long time and a super, super sharp woman. She starts this brand. She starts developing it and trying to figure out effectively why mezcal, that you can go to Mexico City and you can go to Mexico and different parts of Mexico and taste, like, aren't here in the United States. And she began developing this idea and this concept. And this was effectively as I was leaving Blue Run. We got acquired by Molson Coors, which is a large, corporate company. And I ended up just personally wanting to leave that strategy of the way that they were going to go and build the business there, and was looking for something else to do effectively. Gigi and I got in touch, and I guess like the rest is history, effectively. We met together and she tasted me on the mezcal, and I can honestly say I have drank a good amount of mezcal. I had never tasted anything like this before. And because of that, I was immediately intrigued. Once you hear the story and why, it just aligns, right? Going back to my understanding of the industry, right? Like, stories are a huge part of selling in our industry, and getting people to be approachable and wanting to drink something. It has a lot to do with the story behind it. And, working with a family for 15 plus years, the uncle and the cousin are all involved. They've been making this mezcal, Manuel Olivia, for, his family for over 100 years.
Wow.
And understanding what's happening with agave spirits, it just makes a lot of sense, right? You have a lot of agave curious, let's call them, and all of us are agave curious. And we want to be educated. We want something new that maybe isn't, as like smoky, right? Like there's always this connotation around mezcal being smoke forward. And immediately tasting this, it's the opposite, right? It's agave forward. It's citrus forward. It's light, and it's like airy comparatively. And when you get down to understanding like the ethics of business, right? Like when you look at a back bar and you see only smoke forward mezcals, the idea of having a Salmiana agave from San Luis Potosí that isn't on that back bar, it makes a lot of sense from a selling perspective. So all of these kind of things, and just honestly working with Gigi, who's a super, super sharp and smart woman, it all made sense for me. And I jumped right in. I really, really am passionate about like who we're selling to. The consumers are fantastic. It checked all the boxes for me. And again, like it kind of sparks that like young kind of like style of thought when you're trying to sell. And that's again really why I jumped in and really wanted to be a part of this project. Also, understanding Mexico, right? You have Jalisco that has their singular style of making tequila. And just right next to it is San Luis Potosí, which is where we make this mezcal. And it was originally like where they used to make like a lot of mezcal. A lot of it was pushed towards down to Oaxaca. The development of Oaxacan style mezcals became very, very, maybe a little bit commercialized, but also just very popular with the Americans and the way we consumed mezcal. And understanding that the San Luis style of roasting agave above ground in clay ovens, of not doing the underground like roasting of the agaves, keeping everything light and fresh, it made a lot of sense as far as making your product, bringing your product here to be we're the representatives of the family here in the US. And it it's awesome, right? Like the more that we get to sell, the more we get to support them as a family and help them build out their distillery and build out their family. And I don't know, I can keep going on in circles. I feel like I'm talking in circles a little bit, but I'll stop there for a moment.
No, you're good. No, I appreciate that. I mean, you touched on a lot of points, and I'll just lean into a few. So my journey into Mezcal was very much what you just described. And that's why I appreciate the DeSolas a lot. So like I started out where it was just all smoke and like no flavor. And I'm like, there's no way that this spirit is just this. And nothing against any of the brands that make it like that or anything, but like I was just always questioned it. So I kept digging and digging and digging. And like you mentioned, thankfully, like I had a bartender that introduced me to a whole bunch of different brands. Some of them I still haven't been able to find. And that really kind of dug the rabbit hole for me, saying, okay, there is more to this, right? You can get complexity in the spirit with and without the smoke, light smoke, heavy smoke, layers of texture, the whole 9 yards. And then it literally just jumped in like freaking Alice in Wonderland, just dove in feet first. So this was, I'll be honest with you, when I poured this yesterday, I literally didn't know what to expect, right? I knew the tagline, like I saw, it's a lot of your stuff. It's less smoky, so on and so forth. So when I like took the first nose at it, I like literally was like, whoa, wait a minute. What is this? Right. I even handed it to my wife. I'm like, do me a favor, please nose this. She's like, it's mezcal. You know what it tastes like? I'm like, no. Do me a favor. Try this. Just nose it. And she did. And she's like, oh, she's like, that I get dill and like other herbs and lemon and she's like, hold on, I'm going to take a sip of it. I'm like, go for it. So she did. She's like, I like that. She's like, I could kill that bottle. And I'm like, oh, I appreciate that from you. And same thing for me too, right? Like I was blown away by it. And I started sitting there thinking, going, what cocktails could I make with this thing, man? I mean, this thing is so diverse to sip and drink neat or put in a cocktail. I was like, sky's the limit. Like, so this is really, and I never had anything from that area of Mexico. So I mean, I really appreciate it. I think it's something very unique that I'm going to share with other people and introduce them to something completely different than anything like you mentioned, the heavily smoke forward mezcals. I didn't even know something like this existed. So cheers to you guys for putting out a product that introduces people to something different.
It's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've probably heard this 1,000 times in your podcast, liquid to lips. Like if the more people we can get to taste this mezcal, the more we can convert people or consumers, our friends, that not every mezcal needs to be a huge smoke bomb. It's like not all Scotch is Ardbeg. Right?
True.
So, I mean, there's awesome light Scotches out there. We do like trainings in restaurants and we do tastings in liquor stores. And it's really just getting someone to take the first sip or even just nose it, like you said. And it really changes the perspective and the idea of mezcal. And that's pretty much it, right? Like just getting someone to take that like first step, right? And the idea behind this new project of starting to age it is the same thing. Getting, reposado drinkers from tequila to try to taste a mezcal. I'm a podcast geek and I like to try to follow stories of people who have been more successful than I am. And I listened to the founder of Illegal speak, and they have one agave varietal, they age it, and they tell the story of Oaxaca in 3 different varietals. And now I think 4. They have a Blanco, they have a Reposado, they have an Añejo, and I think they just released like a 3 or an 8-year-old. I forget the name. And that's my goal. I want, when people sip this or nose this, I want them to know that they're drinking DeSolas. We are not going to do anything else from the other agave varietals. We are going to have a Salmiana agave from San Luis Potosí. We're going to be the #1 mezcal out of San Luis, and we're never going to change that. I'm really super passionate about that. I really think that it's going to be really important for brand equity, right? Let's use like a key buzz term in our industry, for people to understand. Like even all related to another spirit, Grey Goose. When I'm drinking Grey Goose, like I know that I'm drinking Grey Goose if I'm drinking vodka. Like I can taste it. So similarly, like in a good or bad way, whoever wants to relate that to Grey Goose, I want to know people are drinking DeSolas. Like it smells, it has a certain scent to it. It has a certain palate. It has a certain mouthfeel. And that's why we started to play with barrel aging. My last project, I was effectively trained by Shaylin Gammon, whether she likes it or not. She's amazing. She's one of the brightest minds in our industry, and her palate is unreal. Her ability to understand why things happen was amazing just to listen to, and I soaked as much up as I could, and it allowed me to be, I think, very successful in this process of testing out aging, right? Like we tested X bourbon, we tested X tequila, we tried all these things. And, these are X bourbon barrels that have also been used for tequila, which I think is really cool. And this is a 6-month aged of 3 different barrels that were blended together. And those 3 were on purpose put in different elevations within our warehouse to create microclimates within those barrels. Because then you get 3 completely different barrels. Even if they're right next to each other, they can be completely different. But to make sure, we put them in different spots. And then we blend this together to make what I think is a beautifully balanced mezcal. And I wanted to leave this, and we left this at a higher proof, at which I think we played between 92 and 98. And I think 96 is the perfect medium, where it's not too hot. It has all of the flavor of agave. And it has almost like a ripeness to it, but also a great softness to it. And it's our new baby, and it's DeSolas Reposado.
Yeah, it's fantastic, dude. It really is. I mean, I was blown away by it after having the other one, because there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of similarities, but I picked out the barrel influence. Yeah, sorry, I poured because it's sitting here staring at me in the face. I'm like, I gotta have a drink.
Well, so this is going to go online. So it's funny, you can see like the variant of the way our bottles kind of happen, but this is our final package here. It doesn't really fit in the screen. I guess there it kind of does, but all ceramic, designed by a Mexican artist. I'll leave it at that because we have somewhat of an NDA on that. And super excited about how it all came out.
That's awesome. Well, I don't know very much about the area where it's made. What's the climate like? Is it highlands, lowlands? What's it like?
I would say it's effectively a blend of both. It's a wild agave. So, I mean, mezcal is wild, right? The plants run wild. The agave plants are anywhere between like 25 and like 30 years old, which is also what makes Salmiana most of the time really expensive and unaffordable. And they're grown in different microclimates. Some are very dense and very like vegetal, I would say. And then some are super dry. And then, Manuel's genius is to kind of pull from both of those, and he creates our mezcal.
That's so cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I also appreciate the thing I love about mezcal too. It's the history and the community aspect of it, I think, the most. I grew up in a small town in Massachusetts, and I grew up around a lot of Portuguese and Polish community people, and that sense of community was always there where I grew up. Now, where I live in Atlanta, lost a little bit of that because everybody's moved to Atlanta. So there's the pockets around, but not as much as what I grew up with. And I think my experience with the community aspect of it and the history aspect, I appreciate, right? Like you mentioned, like this has been in their family for over 100 years, right? That recipe, the way they make it, passed down for probably 3 or 4 generations, if not more than that. So you're getting to experience a piece of not only history within that family, but then the community aspect that circles around all of that, right? Because it's just probably not their family that drinks it. You think about all the community that they probably support and provide this to and share it with, and it's such a cool experience. And that's why I think I keep on resonating to mezcal like over and over and over again, is all of that aspect. And then like the terroir piece of it too, right? How it's grown, where it's grown, the age of the agave, the work that goes into it, man. It's amazing stuff that like it sits right with me, and that's why I think I appreciate it so much.
I mean, you nailed it all, right? I mean, tough to follow up what you just mentioned, but I really love the relation to terroir. I think we're just effectively scratching the surface on what's capable with agave. I think my favorite thing to combat is people mentioning that alcohol is bad for you, right? It's not good for you. Agave is effectively the healthiest spirit that you can consume. There's studies on it, and it's a style that it doesn't, I guess, it breaks down better in your body and X, Y, and Z. So with this different style of wild agaves, we're just effectively expanding the idea of what can be consumed. Mezcal is a different version of wine, right? Like, if you want to relate it, and I talk about this a bunch, and like Blue Weber and tequila is like champagne, right? It can only be grown in Champagne. It's the only region it is, but you can make beautiful wines in different regions of France. They're all going to be different. You can grow that same grape varietal in a different region. It's going to taste a little bit different, and that's effectively what mezcal is. And we're just starting this journey. I mean, it's crazy to think about. I mean, I got my fiance bought me a funny magazine from my birthday. And we were flipping through it, and there was an article in 1991. I guess I can give away how old I am. And there's a mezcal ad in it, and it's wild. I would have
91.
I would have bet my entire. It was the old bottles with a worm in it,
Okay.
But I would have bet my life that who's marketing mezcal in 91?
Yeah.
And someone was doing it in an old Playboy.
Awesome. That's amazing. I wouldn't expect it anywhere else.
I mean, funny, but I mean, I guess, yeah, consumers are buying mezcal, I guess, but I don't know. I mean, that was 35 years ago. So
yeah, back in the 90s, that was the magazine, though. If you think about it, that brand represented, it was huge back then. So no, it's awesome. Let me ask you a few questions more about the brand here. So DeSolas means of the sun. So what story are you trying to tell with the name, and how has that evolved since launching?
The sun influences everything for us. The agaves are soaking in the sun from different parts of the day, different styles, different climates. And that has everything to do with the effect of the mezcal, or any agave for that matter. So the relation to the sun just makes a whole lot of sense. And it's funny, we discussing, the variants of like Reposado and Añejo, and like our Blanco is like kind of like that bright middle of the day, right? It's going to show through it's Blanco. It's drank how it's effectively supposed to be drank. And then our age statements are like sunset, maybe for Reposado, and then, almost moonlight for our new Añejo project. And it's just the world effectively revolves around the sun, and it was really cool to kind of build a brand around the idea of that, and keeping everything as traditional as possible and telling a story around it which is a cool process.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I want to talk a little bit. I'm going to ask a question about the bottle, because I keep going back to the bottle. I will tell you that the stature of the bottle makes it feel like a 375. Like, I even looked at it today. I haven't looked at it today, and I'm just like, is that a 750? And it is, right? I don't know what it is about it, but it just feels that way to me. So while I'm showing kind of the label and kind of showing a little bit more about it, so the bottle feels almost intentional, right? Minimalist, elegant, and almost spa-like is what I kind of wrote down. And if you kind of look at it, it kind of does feel like a spa. It's very clean and very straightforward. What does the visual identity say about how you want people to feel when they drink it?
The bottle, I'll tell you something else, and I'll answer your question afterwards. But
you're all good.
The bottles they're designed to last, I guess, is the simplicity of it, right? Like, we're never going to change our labels. We're not going to evolve. Like, these are going to be bottles that are going to be around, right? That was the idea, right? And then developing the new bottles, which was really, really difficult, to try to keep that continuous, right? So if you look at our bottles, on the bottom of it, you have our agave fields and our mountains. I think that is like the entire concept, and you have our sun. And And that's pretty much our brand, right? It's meant to be natural and traditional. And we try to portray that through the artwork and design it like that. Gigi, who I mentioned, actually designed that original bottle all by herself with the artist. The same artist was used for our new project. And again, just trying to be consistent and also to be very true to Mexican culture. I think that a lot of the times brands that are brought to the United States aren't represented super well on the Mexican side. And we really, really wanted to build a brand that was that the Mexican community can be proud of, and that was designed again to like last and be a good representation.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and I think it fits. It's almost timeless. I can see how, the creation of this and the effort and the thought went into this, right? Like, I can see it on a shelf now, 20, 30 years from now, right? It's very timeless. So yeah, it's really, really cool. Yeah. I think I am not the artistic. This is the level of artistic you get with me. I don't have an artistic side of me. So it's kind of cool to be able to see someone's artwork and the imagery is created. It's simple, right? It's simple and it's straightforward, but it really makes a statement when you look at it and you understand the why behind it all. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and I'll show the Reposado again the best I can. These are the same fields that are on the bottom of the Blanco. The sun is a little bit more developed, and then like just a much larger, newer representation of our sun. Wow. Just a little bit updated. And then these are our artist renditionings of our green agave, which is the Salmiana agave, and just kind of her playing and just being creative. And that's the same, kind of imagery that we're using from the Blanco, and again, making it as consistent as we can.
That's really cool. Tell me a little bit about the Salmiana agave. I don't know very much about it. So like, even when I was doing research into it, I was shocked that I got to even have the chance to try something like that, because you don't see it everywhere on the market. So again, something I think is very specific to, is it specific to that region of Mexico, or is it wild across all of Mexico? Like, tell me a little bit about it.
So Salmiana can be grown in any region in Mexico. There's Salmiana that's grown in Oaxaca. That is also fantastic. San Luis is like one of the original kind of mezcal regions. They started making it alongside Oaxaca. They were one of the first two states that kind of effectively started making it in this style effectively. But the agave is super rare, and rarity is scarcity, right? So when you're talking about making, a high-end product, a quality product, anything that's scarce and hard to get is most of the time better. And they were making this style of mezcal. They've been doing it obviously for a super long time. It's one of the largest agaves. It can be one of the largest. It can grow to be the largest. It also grows the longest, up to like 25, 30 years old. They're like more bush style. They kind of grow like wider and like under. I'll plug our video. We have a video on our website, and it shows our mezcaleria. It shows one of our mezcaleros, and it'll show you the green agave. And it's, no better way other than to see it. So,
no, definitely check out that video. Check out the website and check out that video. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that's neat. There's like 60 plus varieties of agave, and I think that's the cool thing about this is I keep on getting introduced to new ones I hadn't even tried before. So I didn't even know about this one until I saw the brand. So then I did some research into it. So it's pretty cool to be able to introduce something new.
At this point,
what was that? Is there 200? Okay, yeah. There's probably more than that even too, but no, yeah. Completely. Yeah, I hear you. That's awesome. So when you're sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. Next question. When you're stepping into meetings with distributors or bar managers who've never heard of San Luis Potosí mezcal, like what's your go-to hook that flips the room? Like, what are you kind of leaning into to say, try this, then this is why?
I kind of already mentioned it, and this is my whole world, by the way, distributors and trying to convince them to sell our product. When you walk into even a Mexican style concept and ask them if they have it, And if they don't have it, then that's an excuse that my distributor should be able to sell this to a Mexican concept. How do you not have a certain varietal that is, obviously a representation of Mexico, literally in a bottle? The other obvious aspect for us and our brand is just the taste profile, right? If you taste our mezcal next to 95% of other styles of mezcal, the everyday consumer, the introductory consumer is going to lean a little bit towards our mezcal, but also a super expert in the industry is also going to lean towards the style that we have, just because it's so agave forward. And like, you taste agave first versus something else, right? Maybe it's smoke, maybe it's yeast, maybe it's, something, but we are super agave forward. One of my favorite lines from someone really, really, really renowned in our industry, when I tasted him on our reposado. So aged mezcals is almost sacrilegious, I would say, in Mexico. But in the United States, we love our age statements. We love reposado. We love añejos. We like sweeter. We have more of a sweeter palate. And he kept telling me this one thing, and I'm never going to forget it. He goes, I really want to hate this. Like, I really, in my heart of heart, I really, really want to hate this mezcal. I want to hate your reposado. I want to hate your single barrel añejo. I really want to hate it, but I can't because it's so good. And he loved it. And I mean, I think that's the easiest selling point, right? You have someone who is a super respected person in our industry, non-biased, and he's tasting it and telling you that, then, I think, you've got something cool.
Nah, that is cool. That is really cool. Nah, it's really unique that, people feel that way and are moved that way from it, right? To try it and be introduced to something new and say that. So that's really neat. Let me ask a question. You've built brands from the inside. Now that you're shaping the voice of DeSolas, how has your past life in the industry influenced the kind of story you want to tell with this brand today?
Everything. I mean, I give all of my success in the industry to the people who trained me. I can name a lot of names, but for the sake of time here, I won't. But I'm a child of the industry. I didn't mention this, but my grandfather started a company in the 70s that started importing small, unique brands into the United States. Started with a small brand called Kahlua and started to kind of build and develop that. And my father now runs that business. And I'm a child of this industry. I wanted to learn every aspect of it. I sold wine to grocery stores at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I've done every single job in this industry up to where I am right now. And I wouldn't replace it for the world. And this new project is I'm almost a little emotional about it because we're doing something for the first time ever. And to be able to be a part of this industry and say that even if we fail, we got to say for the first time ever in the history of the liquor industry that we're releasing an aged Salmiana agave, and it's different styles. And to be able to say that is, I guess I haven't really said a lot of this out loud, almost a little bit emotional, and it's really, really cool to do.
No, it is cool. And it's cool to see your passion behind it too, as just a consumer, right? And an influencer, I call myself that. I don't know if I actually am, but it's cool to see that because you give a shit, like you give a damn, right? Like, and that's cool, right? You're not just there to put a face to something because of where you've been. Like, you have passion behind what you're doing and you understand that. So from my lens, that's really cool, right? Because I know that what I'm drinking is honest and it's there. It comes from not only you, but the family, from Gigi as well, right? So I think that's really cool to see that, because I think we miss that sometimes in this industry today. Sometimes people just make something, they go throw it in a bottle, throw it on the shelf, and then make a quick buck. But there's more behind this, and you can tell with everything that's gone into it, all of the effort, all of the art, the work, the art, the bottle, the story, the community, everything about it, the history behind it. I think it's really cool, man.
I appreciate it. And I mean, honestly, platforms like you are probably the reason, small guys like us can survive. I have this argument with my father. I'm lucky to still have him in my life and be a really big mentor for me. That there's still room for small brands, and there's still ways for us to kind of, I mean, for lack of a better term, be bottom feeders, but it's because of, the geeky bartenders and the geeky consumers that we can survive. I mean, look at the growth of Fortaleza over the last 2-3 years. Yeah. That brand's been around forever. No one gave a shit. And now they're a huge brand. And now no one can buy it. Now it's like a cloudy brand. They're not going to change the way they make their tequila. They're not going to start adding God knows what into their tequila to start producing it more. They're just going to keep to their tradition and keep on making good tequila. But I think it's a testament to just kind of sticking the road and making good products that people care about and just seeing what happens.
It's really true. It's really cool to see that. And to be honest with you too, I think now more than ever, you mentioned bottom feeder. I don't think you are. It's a craft spirit brand, right? And I think that there's more of that now more than ever, because you see the lawsuits that we won't discuss here, but we see the lawsuits that are out there, right? We see and hear about the shortcuts and quality and things like that are happening. And now more than ever, I think people resonate to more of that. Hey, give me a purpose and a reason to buy this. Let me have the transparency about where it comes from, what it is, all of those things, and do so in a way that makes me want to then keep going back to it. Where nowadays, it's just not a number on the wall. I mean, I met people this weekend that were like, "Oh, you're drinking tequila and you're handing out Halloween candy." I'm like, "Yeah, you want to try this?" And they're like, "Oh, what is this?" And I'm X. "Oh, I've never even heard of this stuff. I buy this." And I'm like, "Yeah, stop buying that. Buy this instead." Right. So it's that just introduction. You tell them a little bit about the why behind it too. Right. And then I think it's a little bit of the introduction behind that we all keep leaning into because there's passion and purpose behind it. And I think it's going to start to build and continue to build as all these other big names start to fall, or at least start to have a little bit of transparency about what they've done or what they're currently maybe doing, allegedly. But I think you'll start to see some of that stuff happen. And I think it'll continue to happen as well.
I hope so. I hope everyone listening can resonate with that. It's a gamble, and this is my personal money, my personal sweat equity is all tied up into this, and we're passionate about it, and we're releasing products that we feel are a proper representation of this region and this style of mezcal. We're not changing it. If we changed it, they would probably come and do some bad stuff to me. But just to kind of reiterate what you're saying, right? We're gambling, since we're a gambling kind of society right now, that everyone becomes more educated and they're willing to maybe venture off of tequila X or mezcal X and try something that they maybe haven't tried before, or have a trusted friend that is willing to show them something new. So yeah, 100%.
That's really cool. What are you hoping, like thinking ahead, like 2 or 3 years from now, what are you hoping happens with the brand, right? What if someone picks up a bottle 2 or 3 years from now, like what are you hoping that there resonates with them, whether they're picking up for the first time or picking up for the 100th time? Like what's your goal that when they grab it, they're like, the core memory comes back? Like, what are you hoping for?
It's funny. Like, I think in all reality, just good times and good people, right? That's like an easy, I guess, kind of low level answer, but it's also really true, right? Like, every time I'm drinking this, it's kind of like when we're out with friends or even when we're hosting, and it seems like it's something that's really exciting to share. And it comes with like good energy and good experiences. And it's probably like, honestly, all the way through the actual plant and all the way into the bottle. And I would say a bit of a surface level is like just good times and good experiences. But, one thing that I'm super proud of would be the consistency of the product. Mm-hmm. And I go back to one of my first comments that, every time that you sip this or even nose this, I want you to 100% know that you're drinking DeSolas.
Yeah, I think it's there. I definitely, I can see that. And I think it's prevalent. So I think you've achieved that with this. Definitely, for sure. I definitely do. So it's pretty cool. So tell me a little about what's in the future for DeSolas. Like what's coming out? You mentioned a few things, you teased them a little bit, but like where can people find it? Tell me a little bit more for the consumer side of it.
Well, and I guess even going back to what you said a couple of questions before, like we're only in 6 states in the U.S., right?
Okay.
Like you talk about, like, yeah, I'm still a bottom feeder, and I'm only in 6 markets in the U.S., and we actually just got a new province in Canada, which is pretty cool. So, we're trying just to share this as much as we can. If there's any distributors listening out there, we're free agents. And we're willing and able to expand our markets. But from a liquid perspective, you can kind of see behind me a black bottle.
Yep.
And I'll pull this on the camera really quick. And if there's anyone still watching and or listening, you'll see this. This is 100% my baby. And I talked a little bit about microclimates with our reposado, and when we started this process, it was 31 months ago, and we started testing, right? We gambled and started testing on certain things, and these were the 2 best barrels that have been bottled individually, similar to whiskey, as single barrels. So we took ex-bourbon barrels. So the ex-bourbon also used actually for tequila. So used twice, and then we filled our mezcal the same way that our reposado was represented. But this is reposado is a blend of 3 barrels. I'm giving consumers an opportunity to taste what this would taste like as a single barrel, similar to whiskey, right? If that sounds familiar, for my Blue Run fans out there, we were really, really successful with our single barrel series, and Trey Wade, a huge guy with that whole single barrel society. We have our first 2 that we're ever going to release. They're 31-month-old single barrel mezcals, and at full barrel strength, right? So you're getting everything that we have to offer as far as a taste profile goes, and it's 100% there, and it's not overpowered by the barrel. Our mezcal does not get lost, and it's a beautiful thing. And again, super excited to be able to say that we're the first ones to ever release something like this in our industry, and I can't wait to kind of get this into people's hands.
That's cool. So can they buy it online and ship to all the states, or is it only in the states that you guys are at distributed wise?
We do have an online partner that if you go to our website, you can actually buy right from our website. And we can ship to 39 states, I think it is. There's some control states out there, and if you're listening, your struggles with getting products to your markets, complain to your local government official, and maybe we'll get some distribution. But yeah, so you can order online. I think we have a pretty cool website that we're actually revamping a little bit. But like all the information's there. Our single barrels are going live late November. The reposado is available now. But yeah, I would say just kind of keep track of it. We're like release some more information, and obviously you guys can follow us on Instagram, DeSolas Mezcal, and it's all the stuff is there. And if you're similar to your last host, if it's probably me or Gigi answering all of your DMs.
That's awesome. That's great, man. Cocktails. Let me just step back 1 second, and then I got one more final question. What do you got a banger cocktail to put this stuff in to try it?
I'm like biased by this right now because I'm on like a super tip. It's like a white Negroni.
Oh no shit, really?
Yeah, any Negroni, but yeah. I legitimately like my fiance's in the background kind of making fun of me right now, but I'll pre-batch them. Like I'll like take, 2/3 of a bottle out and put the Campari in and put the sweet vermouth in, and I'll just throw it in my freezer. And it's literally the best thing ever. And just pour it over ice. We just played around with like a spicy margarita. Like we did Devil's Mezcalita for like October. It's like the easiest cocktail ever to make. It's fresh lime, spicy agave nectar, that filthy just released. That's fantastic. And our mezcal, shake it and pour it over ice. It's fantastic.
That's awesome. I thought about doing even a martini with this, or just a twist of lemon, man. Like literally, like I was like just simple, because there's so much complexity and depth in this thing, and there's so many different flavors. I'm like, man, just shake this thing on some ice, throw a twist of lemon on this thing, and just enjoy that. Like that would be killer. I think it would be awesome.
Throw like a little bit of like Lillet in there.
Oh yeah,
or maybe Suze, and there you go. That's a big winner.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Gin, so that's the other, I guess, fun thing. I talk about this, but when we talk to distributors, they're like, how do we sell this? I'm like, well, does a venue have way too many gin cocktails? And you can literally just throw this into a gin cocktail, and in a funny way, it replaces it really, really well and gives it way more complexity.
Yep.
And it becomes an agave cocktail, which effectively people are consuming more right now.
Yep. If it's perfectly, I thought that with the gin side of it, I was like, man, I guarantee you that would replace gin in a lot of different areas. So that
great
was
last word, a great last word cocktail.
Absolutely. All right, final question. I want to be respectful of your time and want to get you out of here, but I appreciate you coming on. If DeSolas reaches the mountaintop, national acclaim, cultural relevance, what moment will you look back on as the spiritual start of it all?
I mean, for me, selfishly, it's the release of these new items. I think that we're really testing the market with these two new things. I think that, Gigi, even before I was involved in this company, did an amazing job of seeding it with the Blanco. But to get acceptance, I would say, by our consumer base and even new consumers of our new items, that would be a huge just kind of just happiness for me. And then, I mean, we're actually last year we're named the Mezcal of the Year by the Tasting Alliance, which is the San Francisco Spirits Awards, the New York Spirits Awards. They named us the Mezcal of the Year, and we're still only in 6 states. So if any distributors are out there, again, we're available.
Oh, the 3-tier system is a beautiful thing, isn't it? It's more of a pain in the ass.
It's a little bit crazy, but it's effectively what I think I pride myself at being very good at. And we're just kind of taking it day by day. We're trying to work with the right people, and not trying to spread ourselves too thin effectively. So like I give you an example. If a distributor called me tomorrow and said we have 6 new markets we want to go into, I would say, what's your best market? Let's go into 1 first.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in 6 markets. I want 6 more markets. I want to be in another market that's going to accept us and work with us, and we can build relationships with. Because if not, then we're just another brand on a wall.
Yep. No, I appreciate that. And it's refreshing to hear you say that, because that's not the way a lot of the world is nowadays. It's all money grab and capitalism and all that stuff. You want to do so methodically in a way that's actually going to go with purpose as well. So I appreciate that thought process behind it. Yeah. So, well, Sammy, man, thank you for coming on the podcast, man. Cheers to you for spending some time with me. Long time in the making, but I'm really glad we had the chance to connect. And I look forward to the Reposado release, the single barrel release as well. And look forward to seeing what the brand does and you guys do over time.
Justin, I appreciate what you're doing for the industry. I appreciate you having me, and I'm excited that you like the liquid more so than anything.
Yeah, definitely. No, I will be purchasing some because I want to try the single barrels next. That's next on the list for sure. So, all right, guys. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of the Dram Amateur Podcast. A huge thank you to Sammy for joining the podcast, and to all of you for tuning in, sipping along, and being part of this amazing community. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment to like, share, and leave a review. It helps us grow and reach more spirit lovers like you. You can also follow me on Instagram at @dram_amateur for updates, behind the scene content, and more. Your support means the world to me, and I can't wait to keep sharing this journey with you. So until next time, remember, life's too short for bad pours, so make every dram count. Cheers. Thank you for tuning into the Dram Amateur Podcast. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of spirits. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. I certainly appreciate all the feedback and support. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes as we continue our exploration of bourbon, whiskey, rum, tequila, mezcal, and beyond. Cheers, and until next time, keep savoring every sip.